can I just say one thing firstly? I love the name Eat Sleep Boxing Repeat.
Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel in partnership with sharpbetting.co.uk, your home of betting tips and analysis, not just on boxing, on a wide range of sports, but we are, of course, here for boxing reasons. And I'm joined by boxing aficionado Ra Hukum. Ra, thank you very much for jumping on with me. I think, this video is about a certain Naoya Inoue who some people think you may have been a Naoya Inoue hater in the past, but no, I thought you would be the perfect man to discuss this topic of conversation with, shall we say. Coming kind of in the aftermath of Inoue not stopping Ramon Cardenas at the T-Mobile Arena on Sunday night there in 8 rounds, but of course getting off the deck to do so, having been floored by Cardenas in round two. The second time we've seen Inoue on the deck in the past 12 months, I suppose, having been knocked down from Lewis Neary as well. So yeah, kind of want to talk to you about, yeah, obviously there's a lot of talk that he's going to go up to featherweight. It looks like he's going to fight MJ Akhmadaliev in September, perhaps as well. So I kind of want to discuss where you see the next 12 months, and how you kind of see that playing out for the monster. More importantly, the question I really want to ask you is: do you see Naoya Inoue losing in the next 12 months?
I see him losing in his next fight, never mind the next 12 months. Some of your viewers might recall the analysis we did before the Nery fight, and I thought there was a good chance Nery could win. Got ridiculed for it, but that first round against Nery showed the first signs of that he's not invincible. He did end up, of course, dealing with Nery quite conclusively. And I do recall I said that if he didn't lose to Nery, he would lose sometime in the past year. I think he staved off that defeat because of the somewhat more cautious matchmaking, should we say. But I think it's coming to a head. And again, this isn't Inoue hating. His greatness is without question. His place in the Hall of Fame. It's assured. Whatever happens for the rest of his career. But like all fighters, there's a limited sort of period of your prime where no matter how good you are, you're going to be invincible. That's limited, and I think that period has coming to an end for Inoue. Understandably, after what is it, 12 years at the top level. Um, yeah, and he's gone through the weights, probably fighting guys who are now getting bigger. And I think that that period of total domination is coming to an end. But he will still be amongst the top fighters. But the fights are going to get harder. They're going to be guys who can beat him and will beat him. And I think that's what he's got to look forward to sort of in this sort of final stage of his career.
Lots to unpack there. Yeah, I mean, I think first thing I want to say is I totally agree that, like, no matter if Inoue was to lose in his next fight or within the next 12, 18 months, 2 years or whatever, that doesn't have anything, that doesn't deter from the fact that he will go down in boxing folklore as, one of the greats of the 21st century, probably, one of the best pound for pound fighters of our generation, certainly. But you're right. Nobody's invincible at the end of the day. Obviously, you could say, there's been a few who have retired undefeated and what have you, but very few people do keep that O. Um, and often or not, like there's just sometimes you can just fight somebody who has your number. Um, you
Hmm.
know, and the one I can I know it's maybe not the same with Inoue, but a lot of people would say that Josh Taylor is better than Jack Catterall in every department. A lot of people would say that, but Jack Catterall, let's be honest, beat Josh Taylor twice. Could he just be like a kryptonite to Josh Taylor? That's the kind of something that's come to my head there. But you're right. Who knows? Nobody's invincible, so to speak, and it could well happen. Picking up on what you said at the very, very beginning, Ra, when I asked you could Inoue lose in the next 12 months, you said I think he could lose in his next fight. So just kind of tell me a little bit more about that and where your head's at there. Is that you saying that if it is the Akhmadaliev fight in September, you believe that Akhmadaliev could get the job done?
I think he could, yeah. Some of the parallels I've seen historically, it's like when you get a great fighter and there's someone who's obsessed particularly with him in beating him. We saw the same, like Evander Holyfield was like that with Mike Tyson. Uh, and even though Holyfield, when he finally got Mike Tyson in the ring, he'd already lost 2 out of 3 fights to Riddick Bowe, and Tyson, having come out of prison, was looking back to his invincible best. As it turns out, he wasn't invincible. And Holyfield pulled off that stirring victory. Another example is Antonio Tarver with Roy Jones Jr. Um, he beat him in the amateurs, gave up boxing, and then saw Jones go on to greatness, which spurred him on to pick up the gloves again and try and, with a sole single-minded target of getting a victory over this guy who I beat as a kid in the amateurs. And MJ has just been talking about Inoue for years, that he believes he's the man that can do it. And I just think that single-minded obsession with being the man to dethrone Inoue. I think he can. I think he's got the technical ability. I think he's got the toughness. And now we're seeing some of the cracks in Inoue's armor. I think the timing just might be right for him. I'm not 100% confident, of course, especially if it's going back to Tokyo. That would be some feat to pull it off. But I think it can be done now, and I think MJ, he could well pull it off.
Yeah, that's some very, very interesting points that you've made there, going back into the history books. Um, yeah, I mean, I completely understand your thought process, and you're right. I mean, it has happened in the past. Who's to say that it won't happen again? And could it be MJ and Inoue? Could that just work out in MJ's favor? We shall see. I mean, it looks like the fight is definitely going to happen. So yeah, I think there's maybe a chance of it. There's maybe a chance of it, Ron. Just before we round off, let's say the MJ fight does happen in September, right? For argument's sake, for what I'm about to ask you, Inoue wins, and then steps up to featherweight. If basically what I'm asking is, if he's not to lose to Akhmadaliev, do you believe that he would still potentially lose in his next 12 months when he eventually steps up to 126 pounds, which looks like he probably will do?
Yeah, I think at featherweight he will, look to fight the best, and he'll probably go straight in at world level. I think featherweight, as he seems to have alluded to this week, is probably going to be his ceiling. But I think he will still win world titles at featherweight, but he will also lose to some of the champions. So whether he gets to become undisputed at featherweight or not, I mean, it's a tall order. He's got the ability to do it, but I think over the course of his featherweight campaign, he will win and lose some. From here on, I do see by the time his career's up, he'll probably pick up a number of defeats. But again, this is not going to detract from his overall greatness. You keep fighting at the top level and you keep moving up the weights, fighters, you will start to lose some. It's not going to detract from it. And I even say, even if he loses to MJ, I still see him able to go up to featherweight and win world titles there. Yeah, as you said, it could just be someone like MJ might turn out to be just his bogeyman. A lot of the greats have had them, so yeah, that's how I see maybe the tail end of Inoue's career playing out in the next couple of years.
Very interesting indeed. Very, very interesting. I mean, yeah, I think when you look at the featherweight landscape, I think you're right. And again, if he does go up straight into your Nick Balls, your Angelo Leos, your Rafael Espinosas, like the chances are he probably will lose. Well, that's not to say that, if you ask me right now, yes or no, does Inoue win a world title at 126 pounds? I'd say yes. But if you also ask me, does he lose at 126 pounds? I think there's a high chance of that as well. So yeah, it's one of them. I think, and as you said, it just reiterating the fact that it won't detract from his greatness whatsoever. But we shall see, Ra. We shall see. Got a lot to unpack there. But yeah, guys, let us know in the comments your thoughts whether or not the great monster Naoya Inoue could lose in the next 12 months, and so within the next year by April. By May 2026, sorry, will Inoue's O still be intact or not? And if it will be, could you see maybe him losing at featherweight semi the champions, maybe 18 months, 2 years down the line? Let us know in the comments your thoughts. And if you're not doing so already, please do subscribe to the channel as well. Ra, really appreciate you jumping on. Thanks very much for speaking to us, and I'll chat to you again very soon.